Can you keep a secret?
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of The Secret Meeting. I'm here with you today with my younger sister, Kemiola, and we're going to be discussing how we feel about colorism. So, as you can see, she's darker than I am, and we are sisters, and I feel as though, she's a beautiful person, I'm a beautiful person, but in today, there's been so many different issues about who's better and who's not better, or who's more attractive or who's more appealing, and it's not based upon who you are as a person or how you represent yourself as a person, but more so of the color of your skin tone. So I wanted to talk with her today so she can share with me some of her experiences because, as I said earlier, she's much darker than I am, and I have never experienced too much of colorism. So, first off, I want to say, do you feel that colorism is like a real thing?
Honestly, yes, I think that colorism is a very serious thing that we deal with today, especially in my generation. It is very big, and we have a lot of situations where colorism is very present to us in everyday life.
So, when was the first time you ever experienced colorism, and did you even realize that it was colorism?
Okay, I don't honestly know the first time I ever experienced colorism. I had to go through school to actually know the definition of what colorism was, to differ a regular situation through me being in a situation where colorism was being portrayed to me.
Okay.
So if I always knew there was something, not something different about me, but I always knew that people would maybe act different towards me than my friend that's lighter than me, but I never really knew what it was exactly called.
Okay, so how did you learn about colorism? How did it stumble upon you? What was this situation as to why you learned the definition of colorism?
Okay, so history at the time was my favorite subject in school, and we were going through just basic slavery topics and just learning about our past as black as a black race.
Mm-hmm.
And it was brought to me brought to my attention that when you were mulatto,
Mm-hmm.
that's when a child of slavery is born from the master, and say just a regular black
Mm-hmm.
woman, she would usually be light skinned,
Mm-hmm.
or just a lighter complexion from
Mm-hmm.
me, and they would usually be inside of the house or be a housemaid instead of working on the fields. So that's how they would do segregation between us as
Nice.
us also having slavery.
Okay. So do you feel as though younger women deal with colorism more than older women, and do you feel like older women can cope with colorism more just because they had the experience?
Okay, so as a young person or as a younger woman compared to you, I feel like dealing with colorism would be a little bit harder than for you at your age, because it's not fresh, but it's something that I have to maneuver myself with and learn how to react to a situation instead of being hot-headed, as to where an older woman would have more coof, I guess, or more understanding to a situation because she's been exposed to it longer than I have.
Okay, I mean, I would say that's like 50-50. I mean, I feel as though there are older women who deal with it just as much as younger women, but I guess I would agree in as far as the aspect of an older woman knows how to transcend from the situation and knows how to just take a mental note and just, move differently to, just get past that situation.
Yeah.
Do you feel like colorism is a topic that should definitely be discussed at home, and do you feel like parents should find ways to allow their children to, I guess, be coherent of the situation and be able to cope with the situation?
I feel like colorism is a topic that everyone should talk about in the household, because the household is basically the foundation of where you take what you learn and take it out into the outside world. So it's something that you should talk about it, even in the slightest sense, just to prepare your child, especially a female child, about what the world thinks of them. Because as a black race, we do go through so many things, and colorism is just one thing that females go through a lot. And so that is something that we should talk about. Is very important.
I mean, I feel like both female and males, like, you know, I think it's very important. Would you say that social media gives an outlet to colorism, so it could be endorsed, or it could be, I guess, pushed onto society? Because, you know, social media is like a big thing now, and I do see a lot of posts where it's like, you know, the dark-skinned girl with the yellow, and, you know, black is beautiful, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it could seem as though it's trying to phase itself out, but then at the same token, I still also feel like there are times where it can just seem, it's like a underlining thing that's never said. It's like very silent, very mute, where you know that it's being
used,
but it's not like out there for you to see it.
I think that it is very present in social media. I remember in high school, probably like about freshman, sophomore years, and you would see posts like, oh, who would you date, a light skin, a dark skin, a brown skin? And it would just be like, everybody would comment under like what I prefer, and nobody's saying, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this, or maybe we shouldn't say that. And then now all you see on Instagram and Facebook and things like that is, oh, look at, she's such a beautiful dark-skinned girl, look at her melanin, and all those things. And it's just like, a few years ago it was something totally different, and a few years ago and today, now we're embracing this dark, beautiful lady, but what happened to all of us?
Yeah, and I do agree when in terms of like, if someone's beautiful, they're beautiful. It's no reason to say, oh, she's dark skinned and it's melanin. Like, we all have melanin. It doesn't matter if I'm lighter than you or darker than you. It's still melanin. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm black, I'm black. It doesn't matter if I'm a higher tone or a lower tone or a browner tone or whatever tone, you know. So it still focuses on colorism because you're using black girl or dark skinned, you know what I'm saying?
You're not just saying she's black.
Exactly, or, you know, she's beautiful. So I feel as though people are trying to change it, but because of the words that they're using, it's still coming across as colorism. What would you say for you is like, or what would you give advice to a younger person or to a person of your age, because you just graduated high school, you just started in college. Like, what did you do for a dark-skinned girl that helped you cope with, you know, feeling like you were left out or not as pretty, or, you know, not chosen because of, you know, your features?
Well, I just started with self-confidence and knowing that no matter what, I was pretty. Like, my mom, she would always say black beauty. She never used to say dark beauty. Well, yeah, her mom. She would never say like, oh, dark beauty. She would just say black beauty. And it was just something that I had to deal with, because my best friend, I have two best friends, and one is lighter than me and the next one is probably brown skin. So we're basically in the trio, if you would think about it like that. And I've always noticed that people would more talk to them or interact with them more than me. Or people would say, oh, you seem like a mean person. And then when they get to know me, oh, you're so funny, you're so this, you're so nice. And it's just, don't judge a book by its cover, and have self-confidence. When you have self-confidence, you can do anything that you please, because, you know, at the end of the day, when you come home and you look at yourself in the mirror, you say, you know, this is me and I love who I am.
I mean, I will completely agree with that situation. I think it doesn't matter if we're talking about colorism or, you know, different body types or different hair types or whatever, it all starts out with you being able to build your confidence and start out at home and have the parents and the guidance from your household to, like she said, bring you into the world and interact with other people with different colors, backgrounds, frames, whatever, and know that this person is just as beautiful as I am. I mean, not every person you see is going to be you're attracted to them, but it doesn't make them ugly. It doesn't make them not worthy of being called attractive. It's just not you're attractive, you know? So it's a difference when you have a preference. I mean, I have a preference, but it doesn't mean that I discriminate or I put all light-skinned people, all dark-skinned people in one category. And I feel like this topic was really important because I just want all people and women to know that we all can coexist, especially, you know, because this is a psychological warfare, honestly. If you guys have never read the Willie Lynch letter, I think that you guys should look into it. And all of this has started from slavery. All of the I'm better, house slave, field slave. It was a form of breaking us down as a people. And I feel that subconsciously we carry on certain traditions from that letter. You know what I'm saying? And we teach it to our children and we teach it to our friends and family because it's something that is so natural to us. And when you become more aware of what that letter or just things in general can cause or can prevent, then you open your mind up to different things. And I just want every woman of every color tone to know that we are all beautiful. Like, we can all stand together. We can all do this together. It doesn't mean because I'm light skinned and my features may show up faster or be more predominant because of the tone of my skin. It doesn't mean that I can take away from a person where you might have to really stare at them. And honestly speaking, there are some dark people that you really have to stare at them to see the beauty in their face. But it doesn't mean that they're not attractive because of the first glimpse. It's like, oh, well, I can't really see anything. Everything kind of like blends together. So they're not attractive. So I just wanted to really say that there's a lot of things that can be done. And I feel as though once we stop using black girl or dark girl or light skinned man or black man, you know what I'm saying? If you're using it as a race, yes, we're all black. But if you're using it as a way to define a person in a race and you're of the same race, then that, you know, that becomes the issue. And, you know, I want you guys to tell me how you feel as well about this topic. So, you know, I want you to interact with us and tell us how you feel and let us know what you think or what you've experienced as far as colorism. And I wish that you all can find the confidence within yourselves, and I wish that all parents can teach their children and put their children aside and say, you know, I don't want you to endorse colorism. You may not get along with all your friends, but at the same time, don't tear anyone down because they don't look the same as you. So with that being said, stay tuned for our next episode. I hope that you really enjoyed this and like and subscribe to our channel.